All right, welcome to another episode of Wednesday Comics, which I think I'm going to be changing the name to My Wednesday Comics. Because I realized, as I was thinking about it, that these are the books that I pick up and not all the books on Wednesday. So it's not totally an accurate description, but you get the idea. So anyway, this week I picked up one that I was looking forward to, Giant Robot Hellboy by Mike Mignola, Duncan Fegredo, and the incredible Dave Stewart on colors. Sirens of the City, number 4. I believe that this is 4 of 6, and I've been picking up since issue 1. This is by Joanne Starer as the writer, and Carrie Randolph is the artist. And from my library, this book I picked up, this manga, Ryoko by Eldo Yoshimizu. There's a lot of difficult names this week. There's a lot of manga at libraries, if you haven't noticed, and so it's been great to kind of just try things out. There's so many different things. The sections are bigger than the American graphic novels, so it's just been awesome to try it out. And then this one I ran across and I was pretty excited about it because I've picked up his work before. Excuse me. This is Aliens Dead Orbit by James Stokoe, I believe is the way you pronounce his name. Sorry if it's not. Super cool stuff. I've got a few other books by him that I'll talk about during the flip through. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to look through this one. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, so this first one is Giant Robot Hellboy. And I mean, I could talk about Mike Mignola all day long. That guy he's a legend, obviously. He's worked with Duncan Fegredo on a number of books and a number of Hellboy stories. And Duncan Fegredo is an incredible, incredible artist. And he's worked on, I think Enigma was a big series that he did. But I've always admired his artwork so much because he just has a draftsmanship that is really second to none. And yet it's not like stiff and too realistic. Like there's a cartooniness to it. Not like a squash and stretchy cartooniness, but just like really expressive. And it has a lot to do with his line work too. But he's a great storyteller. And if you had talked to me before I'd seen him do Hellboy, I wouldn't have thought it was a good pairing because Mignola's stuff is a lot simpler, a lot more graphic, but every Hellboy story I've seen him do has been really, really good, and it just adds another dimensionality, but it's really respectful to what Mike Mignola has established as the style of Hellboy. One thing I wanted to mention is usually, at least with the new books I pick up every Wednesday, I don't flip through them until I do it right now. So I haven't seen any of this artwork up till this point. So this is my first reaction, but it just looks really good. The colors are great. Dave Stewart is one of the best, and he always works, predominantly most of the Hellboy series, it's been Dave Stewart. I think at the beginning it was Mark Chiarello, who is also a great colorist, but Dave Stewart really kind of took the reins as Mignola's colorist, and he's been amazing. Like super subtle stuff. I don't even know if the camera can pick up how great this stuff looks in person, but it's like subtle and, just works for Mignola's world. So that looks awesome. I think I also have another bias because I think Duncan Fegredo follows me on Twitter or X or whatever, and I've interacted with him a little bit before, back and forth, so hopefully he'll see this. This is just, it looks great. It looks like a really good book. The story looks fun. Hellboy meets giant robots. What more could you ask for? So, Sirens of the City, again by Joanne Starrer and Carrie Randolph. The story is pretty interesting, where it's placing mythological concepts like vampires and sirens, hence the name, and placing them in an urban setting. I think it's New York, but their warring families kind of has like a Twilight-ish feel to it. Not that I read those books or watched those movies, wink wink, but it definitely has that like modern day telling of mythological concepts. Families that have generational after generational conflict kind of playing out in today's world. Carrie Randolph's artwork, he's really good, and he has very much, I think he has had animation experience, if I could guess, but like either as a storyboard artist or a designer, character designer, but he's got a really nice stylization to his stuff. Great expressions. I think he's doing the colors, all the inks and the colors with this book. Pretty limited palette, but totally works with his style. He spots blacks really nicely. Just a very, very cool, like it just oozes cool. So I've totally been enjoying just kind of taking in his art style, and yeah, so it's been a really interesting book, and it's kind of coming to a climax, as you can see, where these families are kind of, spoiler alert, gonna have a big fight. But I just loved like the limited palette and the blacks and the whites of how he's doing it. Really cool. Next book, the one I had mentioned, Ryoko, from the library. So I didn't know anything about this book. The only thing that attracted me to it was the cover image. A girl on a motorcycle. Can't go wrong. And I'm flipping through it the opposite direction, because that's how a lot of manga is set up. The original intention of how they read it in Japan. But as I was flipping through the first few pages, I just loved the stylization, just the raw energy that is placed in it. Like you see a lot of books, a lot of manga that have, really great action sequences. Nobody does it better. So you kind of expect that, but there was something about like just the raw, very, very like unfinished quality of the inks in this that were pretty awesome. It almost felt like, the guy just attacked the page, and he did these really forced perspective angles a lot of the time. I mean, look at that. Like, that's crazy. You almost can't read what's going on, but you feel it. These bullet casings flying everywhere. And it's a pretty cool story. It's not super complicated, but it's really interesting. And it's about a girl who's raised to be an assassin, and she's trying to figure out what happened to her parents. And she's kind of risen in the ranks of, sorry, that was off center. Risen in the ranks of this crime organization. And so she's the target. But yeah, I just love this like crazy angle, all these angles here. And then look at how like sketchy the lines are here. It's great. Just flip through these. That's an awesome spread. Really good. Look at this. Like, there's no background, but like it's really dynamic. again, the angles are super extreme. They're either like really low looking up, and then they just go crazy with these sketchy. Love that. This is in the rain. This dude's dying, bleeding out. It's pretty violent. And then it goes super minimal like this. This is almost like as somebody drew this like with a ballpoint pen. You know, and then like finish it. But it's awesome. That's a great spread. Reminds me of some of the techniques in Lone Wolf and Club. And then the artist would do these kind of like really crazy patterns. They remind me of like somebody in high school just sketching on their paper while they're listening to a lecture. I don't know much about this artist. I should look up who this artist is in the history, but from what I what I remember was, I think they do like gallery work too. And then this was their first manga. I could be wrong about that, but anyway, really cool. There's 2 volumes of this. This is the first one, and our library happened to have the second one too, so I'm kind of in the middle of that. And then finally is Aliens Dead Orbit by James Stokoe. Sorry, I'm not even looking at the screen, so I might be off center some of this. Hopefully I can fix it in post. But James Stokoe is somebody that I first discovered. Let me go get this other book first. He did a Kickstarter, I think it was, way back when. I can't remember the year. Of a book called Sullivan's Sluggers, which was this crazy monster and baseball story. It was crazy. I don't even remember half of what happened. I think everybody just gets possessed and they just start fighting monsters. But he has this super cool, influenced by anime manga style. I feel like he looked at a lot of, or grew up looking at like Otomo's work, like Akira, but at the same time, this hybrid, it's not totally a ripoff. This hybrid kind of Western influence of it, like look at like that expression is not a typical anime expression. So yeah, I got this book, Sullivan's Sluggers. Really liked his artwork, and then I picked up this book at a sale. Grunt, The Art of the Unpublished Comics of James Stokoe. Again, similar stuff, like he's got really amazing, let me center that, detailed drawings. Look at that. This is what makes me feel like he was looking at Japanese manga. This like highly rendered cross-hatching stuff. And he loves his monsters. So I think maybe this has, yeah, this, I think this is the, yeah, this is the cover of the book that I just picked up at the library. So him doing an alien story sounds pretty perfect. Oh, here's some, sorry, I haven't looked at this in a while, but here's some of the black and whites pencils of that, of what I think is in that book. He has these like bug-eyed guys. Really fun stuff. His artwork actually also reminds me of a buddy of mine I went to college with named Andy Rustino, who was a great comic book artist. He did a few books that he produced with, I believe, slave labor graphics. What was it called? I'll have to remember the name. My Life as a Fetus? He was crazy. I love you, Andy. And he also worked on Adventure Time. He was one of the original designers on Adventure Time. So this Stokoe's work reminds me of Andy, some of Andy's qualities of his work. So here is, oops, jumped ahead. Aliens Dead Orbit. I just realized that I've been kind of flipping around, but these books are pretty thick. I don't want to bore you guys with flipping through every page, even though if I was watching it, I'd want to flip through every page. But this is awesome. This looks really fun. It's a bigger size. Let me compare to a regular comic book. So you can see it's like oversized. Which is awesome because then you can really appreciate his pen work, the line work, and I really like the colors. Did he do the colors on this himself? Story, art, and lettering by James Stocco. That's how you do it. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, I love the colors. They're like slight gradients, simple color palettes, not like crazy bold poppy. It's almost like pastels. Well, this isn't. Wow. That's awesome. Amazing. Aliens. Ridley Scott's Aliens is a great world. And I know they've done a lot, like Dark Horse has done a lot of comics in this world. A lot of great artists have worked on it, but this looks like a super awesome pairing. Spoiler alert for me, I haven't looked at any of this yet. I just picked these up today. I've been really enjoying exploring the different libraries in the city, San Francisco. I don't know if it was a mandate or curated or whatever, but each one of the libraries here have great sections for graphic novels, almost an unending. So it's been one of my goals to visit each library and check out their graphic novel sections. And this was at a new one that I found, a new library that I discovered today. Ooh, this is awesome. Black and whites, always my favorite. Yeah, his pen work's great. It looks like he just uses like a Sharpie to color in the blacks. Oh, this is his original pitch, and that was what was in Grunt, that book. Yeah, it was in here. So pretty cool to see the final product here. I'm excited to read through that, and wow, that is insane. This is awesome. Really nice. It's fun. I love process. You'll find that as a running theme as these videos get built. I'm always a sucker for process, because, you know, I'm learning from that, and hopefully I can utilize that to work on my own book and, you know, produce stuff. So I'm always kind of absorbing what other comic book artists are doing, and that's why I love it so much. All right, so that's this week's. Okay, that's it. Hope you enjoyed that. Just wanted to say thanks to everybody that checked out that first episode and subscribed to the channel. Can't believe I'm saying this. Please like and subscribe. This is just a fun little thing that I wanted to try and start doing. Trying to figure out the camera setups and the mic setups and everything, and it's a grand experiment. But it's been fun, and it's really fun to talk about comics and just explore, and it gives me an excuse to go regularly, which I have been, but now it's like, well, I gotta do it, right? Because I gotta do this episode. So anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope to see you next week. Cheers.